everybody, and welcome to Storm Reads, and today I'm going to be talking about my June TBR. It's quite an ambitious TBR, especially since I have a hard time sticking with an actual TBR, but I'm trying to get better at that, and I'm trying to pick out books that I really think sound interesting to make sure that I do stick with it. But even at that, my mood changes. I'm a big mood reader, so you never know. Anyway, I'm gonna try to stick with it. But first off, I'm going to talk about a couple of books that I'm in the middle of still, and that will be carried over from May into June. And one of those is Blood Like Magic by Lascelles Sambury. I was hoping to get this one done in May, and it just didn't happen. I didn't get very far into it, and I'm really having a hard time, guys. This is just, it's just not holding my attention like I want it to. It's about Voya, who, her family are witches, and she has her calling coming up, and whenever she does her calling, that's going to be when if she passes, she gets her magic. If she fails, she doesn't. And she's a bit wishy-washy because she can't really make a decision worth nothing. And that is pretty much why she fails her calling. And that's not a spoiler because it happens really quite early in the book and it's on the back. But that's what sparks the whole story, is the fact that she begs to get another chance. And so her ancestor, who was giving her task, says, okay, she'll go ahead and give her another chance. She's got to decide whether she wants to accept the task that she gives her or don't accept it, and her family all loses their magic. So, yeah, the reason why she failed her calling in the first place is she's pretty wishy-washy, and the ancestor knew that. So I think it's one of the reasons why the ancestor gives her such a deal, this task that it's going to make her have to make a really hard decision. And she decides to go ahead and do the task, but she didn't realize what kind of task it was going to be. And, well, the ancestor wants her to kill her first love. Well, there's a big problem with that. First off, Voya's never been in love, so there's nobody to kill. The second is, if she kills somebody, then their pure magic will be impure, because that's what happens. That there's some impure people, who witches and things, that don't care, and they use blood magic and stuff like that. Well, they don't, and they're considered more pure witches and stuff, and that would turn her family impure if she kills somebody. So her family's all in kind of an uproar about this and thinks she can't believe that their ancestor would make her want to do that, or to do that. And the fact is that she doesn't have a love, so she's going to have to find somebody to fall in love with so that she can kill them. And there is this romance genetics thing that's called New Gen, and she's been I think it's like 92%, or anyway, she's highly matched with this one guy that she does not like. So, and he doesn't seem to like her. So I'm sure that something, excuse me, is going to be involved with that. But it's just really slow getting there, and I'm hoping that it picks up, but right now I could probably put it down and not really care. So it's 484 pages, and I'm only like 120 something pages in. So I'm hoping it gets better, but right now it's just not getting very good. Okay, another book that I am reading currently is called Lady Ruthless by Charlotte Scott, and it's the first book in the Notorious Ladies of London, I believe is the series. And I got it from Kindle Unlimited, and I was just kind of in the mood for a historical romance, and I figure since I have Kindle Unlimited right now, I need to start using it a little bit more, and so I decided to try something off of there, and it's been pretty interesting. I'm only 28% into it. Like, I should be farther into it, but like I said, I've been taking kind of a break, and I just haven't been in the mood to read after my ambitious goings for May. And so I'm just, I like it, but it's about the Earl Sinclair, who Lady Calliope, I hope I say that right. She thinks that Earl Sinclair killed her brother and his wife, and so she's been writing these scandalous papers about the Earl of Sinclair and calling it. It's been called the Confessions of a Sinful Earl, and it's totally ruined his reputation. And so he decides to kidnap Lady Clappy, and he's going to force her to marry him because he needs her money, because he can't get any money, because he can't do anything, because she's ruined his reputation, and nobody else is going to want to marry him. So he's kidnapped her, and he's pretty much going to blackmail her into marrying him. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't kill anybody, but she's ruined his reputation, and so he thinks it's kind of fair play and everything. So it's definitely enemies to lovers and everything, and which I kind of like that trope. So I'm finding it kind of interesting. It's at a little bit of a slow spot right now, but hopefully it gets a little bit better. But, you know, it is what it is, but I'm enjoying it. So, yeah, I'm rambling now, so let's just get on with the June TBR, or this video is going to be really long. So, I'm going to participate in the category Romance Readathon. That's from June 5th to the 20th, and it's hosted by Sarah from the Bookish Knitter and her friend Bree. Sorry about that. Her friend Bree, who I believe has an Instagram account, but I don't remember the name, so I'll put it down below. And so it's got, I believe, 5 prompts, and let's see what the prompts are here. Okay. So the first prompt is to read a category romance from 2021. Well, I didn't have any of those, and so I decided to check out NetGalley and see what they had, because I am auto-approved for Harlequin, and so that could be dangerous because I'm really getting into romance right now. But I got Rising Danger by Jerusha Arjun. I'm not quite sure how you say her last name. It's a love-inspired novel that came out May 25th, and it's up to canine handler and her canine partner to stop a bomber before it's too late. Someone's planted an explosive on the dam in the Twin City, and Bristol Bachman, and her bomb-sniffing dog must move quickly to find them before everything ends up underwater. That means relying on the dam supervisor and ex-boyfriend Bristol never thought she'd see again. Hopefully, Remington Jones has grown up from his rakish charmer since she knew him in academy days, because lives now depend entirely on them. So it sounds super cool. I really like the cover, and so I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy that one. And this next one, I also ended up having to get off of NetGalley because I know nothing about anything that has to do with owned voices. I don't own any category romances with that. So I kind of browsed to see if there was something. I think this might be one. If it's not, you can let me know in the comments, but it's going to get read either way. And if it doesn't count for this prompt, then I just won't have one for this prompt. But this one is called 1 Week to Claim It All by Adriana Herrera, and it's the first in the Sembrano Studios. It's by Harlequin Desire. It's number 2810, and this one comes out June 29th. It's not my normal kind of romance because it's an office romance, but we'll give it a try and see what happens. It says, when Esmeralda Sembrano Pina, that's a mouthful, unexpectedly inherits her father's media empire, it ruffles more than a few feathers. And no one is more conflicted about this than Rodrigo Almanzar. I'm going to butcher these names. Esmeralda knows her father's longtime protege, and her ex-lover wants the executive job for himself. Making matters worse, their renewed passions grows undeniably with every late night meeting. Will Rodrigo prove to be the perfect partner in business and pleasure, or her professional undoing? So it sounds like it'll be interesting, and I'm kind of curious about it, and so hopefully I will enjoy it. And then the next one is a book published before 2000. So I had some books given to me not too long ago, and there was a bunch of category romances in the mix of it, and so I'm going to give this one a go, and it's Operation Snare by Eva Gladstone, and this is Harlequin Intrigue. It's number 75. So it's pretty old. It is, let's see, where does it say? Oh, there it is. I forget, it's on the side. This is from 1987, so I'm kind of curious. It says, she was torn between loyalty and suspicion. Trouble began for Boston-bred Molly Rader when her tape recorder was stolen from her handbag. Later that day, she finds a dead man lying on her living room floor. Rick Bolter, an assistant district attorney, was involved with Operation Snare, a covert strike force to entrap racketeer and extortionists. Because Molly was a linguist and recorded conversations of people with different speech patterns, she inadvertently taped a conversation that could incriminate her uncle, Judge Ryder, and put Molly's life in danger, so Rick believes. Against her will, Molly teams up with Rick to ferret out a clever but unknown adversary. So, I really like this older cover. It's really cool. We'll try that. And then the next one is to read an imprint that is no longer being published. And for this one, could also be considered for the published before 2000. Because I have a Harlequin Gothic romance. And this is The Fourth Letter by Allison Quinn. And this was number 7. And it's from September 1985. There wasn't a whole lot of these made, which is a bummer because I think Gothic romances are cool. But anyway, this says, a stranger in a strange land. A promise made to her dying father brought Nicole Lord from her home in Paris, France, to the remote hills of Vermont. There she tries to make peace with her father's mother, an embittered, eccentric old woman who was convinced her artist son had deserted her years earlier. Nicole was met with rejection and coldness, not only from her grandmother, but also from the housekeeper Delilah and her son Mark. Nicole's only comfort was the suave and sophisticated Dr. Allen, who treated her grandmother. Though Mark remains remote and secretive, Nicole finds herself drawn to him, but Nicole's life was in jeopardy and her relationship with Mark threatened unless the truth that lays hidden in a secret letter was revealed. So, looks like something bad and nasty is going on back there because there's a fire, but this one looks pretty cool. I have another Harlequin Gothic romance coming in the mail because I found a couple off of abooks.com and they just look really cool. So I may change my mind and read the other one, but for now we're going with this one. Okay, so the last prompt was to read a book with a summer cover. So out of all the category romances I have, which aren't very many, this is the only one that looked closest to a summer cover. So I'm hoping that y'all think it's a summer cover. And that's Buried Memories by Carol J. Post. This is a love-inspired suspense novel. It's in the large print edition. And this was one of the books that I got in that bunch of books. And it says, after her broken engagement, Nikki Jackson hopes to move to Cedar Key. Her move to Cedar Key would give her a fresh start. Instead, she quickly learns someone is out to destroy her. Are the attacks tied to her mother's recently opened murder case, or to the nightmares Nikki's beginning to suspect are actually hidden memories? With the threats against her escalating, former soldier Tyler Brandt vows to keep Nikki safe. He refuses to lose the woman who's swiftly becoming more than a childhood crush. But when danger circles closer, it's Nikki's traumatic past better left forgotten, or are her memories the key to something more sinister? And so I thought it looked pretty summery with this nice pretty sunset and the looks like a lake or something. So hopefully that'll work. And so that's all the books that I need to read for the category romance readathon. But I decided I would like to read a few more romance books, and so I decided to go ahead and read a few more of the category romances that I have, since it is kind of category romance June. It's not going to be the only things that I'm going to be reading, but I thought, if the mood strikes me, I might give them a go. And I think this is one that I really want to get to, and it's a love-inspired historical, and it's called Wilderness Courtship by Valerie Hansen. It's got a really pretty cover. This could be kind of a a summer cover maybe. And it says, after surviving an unhappy marriage, Charity Beale avoids men, but compassion gets the better of her when she encounters Thorne Blackwell, a rugged shipping magnate in the midst of crisis. His brother has vanished, and hired guns are after his brother's wife and son. To save them, Thorne's facing a grueling journey through the wild Oregon territory. In order to succeed, he needs Charity's help. So, sounds like it'll be pretty good. And so, I think I kind of want to get to that one. But I have another historical one in case I get in the mood. And this one is called Wooing the Schoolmarm. And it's by Dorothy Clark. And it's another love-inspired historical. And this says, a spinster by choice. When Willow Wright's fiancé abandoned her, he ended all her hopes for romance. Now she's dedicated herself to teaching Pinewood children, including the new pastor's young wards. If she didn't know better, Reverend Coltvert's kindness could almost fool Willa into carrying again. Almost. Though Matthew Calvert adores his niece and nephew, he wants a family of his own too. The more he sees of the pretty schoolteacher, the more he wants a future with her. Yet Willa's so warm to her pupils is ice cold towards him. But where there's a woman like Willa, there's a man determined to guide her back to love. That last line is kind of cheesy if you ask me, but it sounds kind of good. And then I have another old an old Harlequin book that I would like to get to. It's a little nasty and on the front, so kind of ignore that. This is Harlequin Presents. It's number 237, and it doesn't say on this side when this one came out. Okay, it came out in 1978, so yeah, this one's really old, and I just love the cover because, I mean, look, that sweater, it's so like 70s, and it's cool. But see, it's got like this nasty thing on it, so ignore that. But this is by Kay Thorpe, and it's called Lord of La Pampa, and it says, Leon Trevor was forced to make a hurried decision. Stranded in Buenos Aires, she must choose between remaining in her very dangerous predicament or marrying a stranger. And it's got something nasty on the back as well, and I can't really read that, so... But that's good enough. It sounds kind of intriguing to me anyway. So I would like to get to that one. And if the mood strikes me and I have enough time, because like I said, this is very ambitious TBR, I would like to try to get to Once an Outlaw by Teresa Michaels. And this is a Harlequin historical. And it's got a different back. I think the back's kind of cool. But it says, Logan Kincaid has been shot and left for dead. The last thing Logan remembered, he's been riding undercover with outlaw gang. He had no idea how he wound up in Jesse Winslow's bed being nursed back to health. All he knew for certain was that he finally found the woman of his dreams. So, sounds cool. I like cowboy type romances, and this looks like it'd be cool. So that's all of those kind of things that I would like in the like category romance section. And then next up I have some EARCs that I would like to get to. Well, I take that back, because one of the EARCs that I would like to get to is another Harlequin intrigue book that I picked up from NetGalley, and it's number 2009, and it comes out on June 29th, so I want to try to get to it. And it's Profiling a Killer by Nicole Severin, and this is Behavioral Analyst number 1. It says, Special Agent Nicholas James knows serial killers up close and personal. After all, he was practically raised by one, and later becomes the Behavioral Analysis Unit Specialist to put them behind bars. But Dr. Aubrey Flood's sister's murder is his highest stakes case yet. His professional history with the beautiful medical examiner is legendary. So is their attraction, but the clock is ticking, and Nicholas has every intentions of making sure Aubrey doesn't become another victim. So that one sounds right up my alley. The intrigue ones gives me that mystery and suspense that I love so much, but then I can get a little bit of the romance too. So I'm excited to get to that one. And then the next book that I have is an audiobook that I picked up for review from Macmillan's off of NetGalley. And this one actually comes out on June 1st, so I'm a little behind on getting to this one. But it's called Library of the Dead by T.L. Hutchu, I think is how you say it. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, it's Sixth Sense meets Stranger Things, and a sharp contemporary fantasy following a precocious and cynical teen as she explores the shadowy magical underground of modern Edinburgh. And so I thought that sounds pretty cool. It says, when ghosts talk, she will listen. So I'm excited to give that one a try. And then another one that I would like to get to is one that's already came out, and this is Denied by Mary Kiliko, and this is the Kelly Pruitt #2. I really enjoyed the first one in this series, and this is from Camel Press, and it came out in May, so I'm a little behind, but not too much. And this is about a PI, Kelly Pruitt, who has a lot on her plate, working with clients at a detective agency, handling a difficult ex, and caring for her deaf daughter. If motherhood taught her anything, it's that the best things in life are never easy. So, despite recent injuries, PI Kelly Pruitt is eager to get back to work. And in this one, I think she is contacted by a mother who needs her to find her estranged father or something like that. And she thought it was going to be like a really super easy missing persons case, but it doesn't end up being as easy as she thought it was going to be. So, the next thing I've got is a buddy read with my friend Barb, and we buddy read the first book in this series, and I think she liked it a little bit more than I did. I gave the first one 3 stars. I thought it was a little boring, but I know it's a lot of world building and stuff like that, and so I'm going to try the second one. I may regret this, I don't know, but we're going to read Siege and Storm, which is the second book in the Shadow and Bone series by Leigh Bardugo. And this, I know it's about Alina, who has a special kind of magic, a sun magic, and now she has to be a Grisha, and she didn't like how things were going, and I can't really say a whole lot without like spoiling anything, and I can't really say anything about this one, so I'm kind of curious because of what happened in like the last 15 pages of Shadow and Bones to see if I'm going to like this one or not. I just thought the first one was kind of boring, so hopefully this one will be a little bit more action, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. And then every other month we read a retro horror book. We read them at the same time, kind of, and we review them on our blogs together, but we don't necessarily always do the same book. We just pick out a retro book that we would like to read, and then we put it on the same day, and we just call it our retro read. And this time I'm going to pick The Rats by James Herbert. It was published in 1974. I found it on Scribd on audio, and so I thought, I've always wanted to try that, and I've watched a movie that I think was based on it, so I'm really curious, so we're going to give that a try. And so it says, for millions of years, man and rat have been natural enemies, but now for the first time, suddenly, shockingly, horribly, the balance of power has shifted, and the rats begin to prey on the human population. Rats in general are creepy, so I'm sure this will have some creepy moments in it. So I'm kind of excited to get to that. And then I am part of the Killing Time with Cozy's book club, and this month they did a subscriber pick for the Discord, so like everybody who's in the Discord could put in some books that they would like to read. That's first in series, and then they drew one out. This is not one that I really wanted to read, but it might be good. I don't know, and I think I can get it on audio, so that will help. And it's Mr. Monk Goes to the Firehouse. It's by Lee Goldberg, and it's about Monk's house is being fumigated, and he has nowhere to go. Fortunately, his assistant Natalie and her daughter are kind enough to welcome him to their home. Unfortunately, their home is not quite up to Monk's standard of cleanliness and order, and so I'm sure he's going to drive Natalie and her daughter crazy. And this one, it has the death of a dog at the local firehouse on the same night as a fatal house fire has led Monk into a puzzling mystery. So that's going to be the mystery in this. And I like Monk the show, but sometimes his OCD can get a little annoying and over the top. And I'm just hoping that the book isn't quite as bad. But then I've heard the book could be a little bit, so I don't know. But we'll give it a try and see what happens. We always read the first one and don't have to read anymore if we don't like it. So, and also the Killing Time with Cozies group also has been doing this thing they call Knockout Challenge, and that's where they read 2 cozies in the same kind of theme. This one is a crafting theme, and they've picked Yarn to Go by Betty Heckman. It's Yarn Retreat series number 1. It says dessert chef Casey Feldstein doesn't know a knitting needle from a crochet hook. But after her aunt dies unexpectedly, leaving Casey to run her yarn retreat business, the sweets baker finds herself rising to the occasion and trying to unravel a murder mystery. I've read, I think, 4 or 5 in this series, and they're pretty enjoyable, but I really don't remember the first book in the series, so I may give this a re-listen, because I definitely will be doing it on audio, and the next one I'll be doing on audio as well, and that's Murder, She Knit by Peggy Earhart. I think that's how you say it. And it's a Knit and Nibble series number 1. And it says, since her only daughter left for college, widow Pamela Patterson has kept busy as associate editor at a craft magazine and founder of the Knit and Nibble Knitting Club in quaint Arborville, New Jersey. Now she's trying out a new hobby, solving murders. So I haven't tried this one, but it's been on my list, and look at that cover. It is so adorable. So I will be getting to that one, but I know it'll be audiobook. And then we're getting down to the last of it here. Like I said, very ambitious TBR. Probably won't get to half of these, but we're going to try our best. So like I've said before, I think I have Kindle Unlimited right now, and I'm giving it a go to see if I'm going to want to spend the $9.99 a month on it. And to do that, I really need to try out some of the books that are on there, or it's not going to do me any good. So I've got 3 Kindle Unlimited books here that I would like to try to get to in June, and that's Murder on Cape Cod by Maggie Day, and it's the Cozy Caper book number 1, and it says a Cape Cod shop owner and her book club must find a crafty killer in this charming new series, and it has I thought it was kind of interesting because Mackenzie is a bicycle shop owner, and that's different because I haven't run across a cozy with a bicycle owner, shop owner, so I thought that was cool. And so we'll give that one a try. And then I've got a couple of historical romances. Never Doubted Duke by Maggie Anderson, and it's number 1 in the Never series. It says take an arranged marriage, add a damaged duke who doesn't wish to marry, an independent lady intent on her own pursuits. Stir in an explosive passionate attraction, and sparks fly. So I thought that sounded like it might be pretty good. I kind of like the arranged marriage trope thing, so we'll give that one a go. And then I decided I may try the second book in the Notorious Ladies of London by Charlotte Scott, and this one is called Lady Wallflower. It's about Lady Jo Danvers has declared war on her humdrum life. Armed with a list of ways to be wicked, she will step out of her role as the never-been-kissed wallflower and experience passion. With the right gentleman, of course. She just has to find him. And this one sounded like a lot of fun. I've met Lady Jo Danvers in the first book already, and yeah, she is kind of a straight-laced kind of lady, so it will be kind of interested to see her step out of that role. And the guy, I read a little bit into it, and it says, I can't remember who it was, but I know a guy accidentally gets her list, and so he wants to volunteer to help her with her list. So it sounds like it might be kind of cute. And so that is everything that I have. And like I said, very ambitious TBR. I want to get to them all, but will I get to them all? I don't know. I will not push myself like I did in May. So what I get to is what I get to. I just want to read everything right now, and I am in such a romance mood, which is really weird because I'm sure if you've been on my channel too much, you know that mainly I read like horror and mysteries and suspense and thrillers and stuff like that, with a couple romances thrown in. So, but I'm like, I don't know if it's just because summer is getting here or whatever and everything and the sun is shining, but yeah, romance is what I'm wanting right now. So we'll give it a go and see if I'm gonna be liking romance after this month. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.